Mediva Denny, take one.
So she is going to be looking at the camera, right?
She should look
As
at me.
opposed to,
Is
so
she
the
talking
interviewer?
to the camera?
No, I'm asking, it's a question, is she?
What do you want her to do? Talk to the camera? The viewer?
If you
or
want it to be an
slightly
interview
off,
thing,
like
she
she's
looks
talking
slightly
to us?
off to the interviewer.
Okay, where are you standing, Ruby?
She would
I'm
be
standing
here,
where you're standing.
but low, so
So-
she's not looking up. Right there.
Let's see what that looks like.
No coughing.
I'll get it out now.
Yeah, so you're looking at her, and you can use hand gestures and right at Libby now, not at the lens.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah,
what you
that
wanted,
is
right?
fine.
And then we'll switch, the next one will be on this side. And let me just get a focus as you're looking at Libby.
So you're a 2L now.
I am,
I'm
yeah.
gonna ask you about your 1L experience.
Okay.
Because I wanna know what it's like, because I'm thinking about going to law school. I'm not so sure.
Hold on.
And I could come here, or I could come.
Okay, anytime.
Okay, so tell me what it's like to be a 1L, Columbia.
I actually enjoyed my 1L experience. I know there are a lot of horror stories about law school, but for me personally, I participated in moot court, specifically the Frederick Douglass moot court team, and it was, without a doubt, one of just the greatest things I've done. I really think it was formative for my law school career. I'm still involved in the moot court group now, even though I'm a second-year law student. And it just gave me the opportunity to learn a lot more than I think you normally can as a 1L, and just delve hands in and make a lot of friends while doing it. So I really enjoyed it.
So tell me again, and feel free to use your hands, what it's like to be a 1L.
I was a big fan of my 1L year, which is very surprising to lots of people. I participated in a moot court team that I really enjoyed. We went to a regional competition. I made a lot of friends while doing this and had the chance to learn about issues normally reserved for second and third year law students. And I just felt like I was getting a lot of exposure to things that I didn't have the opportunity to while in college. So I was actually a fan of 1L.
That was a good pick.
Should I do one more? We'll move on.
No, move it.
I also understand that in addition to having a fun 1L year, that you get to eat cookies or something during the day?
2 p.m. cookie time is one of my favorite things. I'm a big fan. I really like cookies, and it's also supplemented with coffee. Just a combination of sugar and caffeine is a really good thing for me. And also just the group of friends. We have like a little powwow on the regular. A group of us will come together and just chat over our cookie break, and also get to know all the people in the Student Services office. So it's really great.
I'm a big fan of cookies too. I hear
good,
you
and
get
I-
to eat them during the day.
And we got some motion in the back, which is really good.
Is she, if you want to use your hands, feel free. You
I
don't-
hand down to her hands.
You don't have to.
Okay.
But also realize that on camera, like the movement is up here,
Okay.
okay? So just try and do whatever's natural for you.
All right.
Tell me again about the cookies, because I love cookies.
I love cookies. I'm here basically every day. It was a little bit of a problem for me when my class schedule interfered with cookies at one point. But a group of us regularly get together around our midday caffeine and sugar break, and it's a really nice little pick-me-up in your afternoon, and it also got more familiar with the people in the Student Services office. Student Services always has your back, whether it's with free gear and free snacks. So I'm a really big fan. I'm pro cookie time.
What do you do over the summers?
Over the summer last year, I interned at a place called Equality Now. It's an international women's human rights organization. Specifically, I was in the New York office, which I think was really good for me because I also got the opportunity to go and check out the UN one day and just, have a lot of things going on in the city. So I think it was a really good combination of that international and domestic feel. And Columbia was really helpful for me in doing that since, you're right here, and just I had a lot of people supporting me in my desires to do international human rights work.
I have to cough. Tell me again about cookie time. What is cookie time?
Cookie time is the best thing. At 2 p.m. on every weekday, Student Services will just graciously lay out free cookies and coffee for you. This is really a high point of most of my days. I get together with a big group of my pals. We just hang out here, talk with the people at Student Services, chat with each other, occasionally get some work done as well. And it's all fueled by the sugar and caffeine that I'm so fond of. So I enjoyed my 2 p.m. cookie break.
That was awesome.
She's great. You're from Central Casting.
You are. That was awesome. And tell me again, what about your 1L summer? Or your, yeah, is it your 1L summer?
This summer.
Yeah.
This is her 1L summer.
So last summer, my 1L summer, I interned at a place called Equality Now. It's an international women's human rights organization, and I was in the New York office. It was really great. I got to work with a bunch of different interns from all over the country. One of our interns was actually international, and I just got exposure to women's human rights work, doing factual and legal-based research that I didn't really have the opportunity to do before. So I was really excited to get to do so now, and I think it was really helpful moving into my second year of law school as well, since I want to do women's rights work eventually.
Are glasses okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You see it at a different angle than me.
Yeah, okay. All right, I love the cookies, I think we have a take.
Yeah,
I love
definitely. The other one, we had 2 takes of that were really good, I thought.
Right, and I can't remember what it was.
It was, I mean, I'm very.
Oh, as a
versed.
1L.
Yeah, 1L.
Yeah.
I think we could do the summer experience.
Yeah, so summer, you just want to work on it.
I would just say speak a little more slowly.
Okay.
Tell me what you do in the summer, what you did last summer.
Last summer, I interned at a place called Equality Now. It's an international women's human rights organization. I specifically was at the New York office, and I think it was really good for me to capture both sort of this domestic and international feel at the same time, and Columbia really enabled me to do that. I was hanging out in the career services office all the time, getting support from people and trying to plan out effectively where I was going to go. Oh, was that?
No, I'm sorry, I'm just telling them they can walk.
Oh, sorry.
right.
I guess I could shut that over.
Take 6. Tell me about,
That was a good start, huh?
that was a good start. So tell me, and let's not rush through it, okay? So
Okay.
tell me about what you did last summer.
Last summer, I interned at a place called Equality Now. It's an international women's human rights organization. I'm really interested in doing public interest human rights type work, and Columbia's always been there for me and making sure that I can do the type of work that I'm interested in doing. Last summer, since I was in the New York office, I even got to run over to the United Nations New York-based office as well.
Start last summer, since I was, and can we just have these guys?
And also I think because you're saying women, you're saying humans, right? So just.
Okay.
I think you're doing great.
No,
Yeah,
you're
very
doing-
good.
you're
We're just being
phenomenal.
nitpickers. It looks great, you sound great, it's very good.
All right, so if I come to Columbia, what kind of opportunities do I get to do in the summer? What did you do in your summer?
There's a range of opportunities you can do as a Columbia student. For me, I wanted to do international women's human rights work, so I had the opportunity to work at a place called Equality Now, where I really got to delve into factual and legal-based issues, which is really exciting just as my summer after my first year of law school. So I hadn't really been exposed to that sort of thing before. And it was a really nice opportunity. I met lots of cool people, including other interns from abroad, and I think I learned a lot that really helped me going into my second year of law school as well.
I like
That's a
that.
perfect take.
Did you like that one?
You know what, she didn't say summer right away, I didn't interrupt her, but she said it in the middle, which
Yeah,
is even
she
more
went
interesting,
through
because
that.
you're like, what is she talking about? And then summer, and it adds almost more interest to
Okay,
it.
I think you need to go into your office.
She was perfect.
Yeah, we're gonna ask her one more time, without you sitting.
Okay, let me mark.
You're threatening to all of us.
I can feel her like staring at the back of my head.
But it's good. Now you know what it's like to have a client right there. Okay.
All right, so I'm thinking about Columbia. What am I gonna do with my summer? What did you do with your summer?
You have a range of opportunities as a Columbia student over your summers. For me personally, I interned at a place called Equality Now. It's an international women's human rights organization, and I was in the New York office, so I also got to do cool things like go over to the New York office of the United Nations and just still live in the city and have this domestic and international feel at the same time while doing the type of work I wanted to do. I think it gave me a really good support and grounding moving into my second year of law school, since I also want to continue to do women's rights and public interest-oriented work. So it was a really great experience.
Good. What you were hearing is women's humans rights. She's putting an S on humans. But it's so minimal that, I mean, I'm not picking on you, because she brought it up and then I heard it this time. But that's good. I have a lot of good takes. I'm more worried about picking the wrong good take that you want.
Yeah, I think we're done.
Yeah. It's good.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of
I
course.
can't tell you.
Yes.
Yvette Farrar, take 2. Because we already did one.
I
It
see.
has nothing to do with it. All righty. I hear you have a favorite restaurant in New York.
Absolutely.
What is it?
I'm from Texas, Dallas, and I really miss Southern cooking all the time. And there's a great new restaurant in the Upper West
Can you
Side.
start again? I got
Slow.
the door slammed.
All right, let's start again. I hear you have a favorite restaurant in New York.
I absolutely have a favorite restaurant. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and it's really nice to get some Southern cooking every once in a while. There's a new place called Jacob's Pickles here in the Upper West Side that's ranked in one of the top 20 brunch places in all of Manhattan. And we have really great biscuits and gravy, biscuit sandwiches, chicken, and it's just really nice to get a little bit of home up here in New York City.
All right, so tell me about Jacob's Pickles again.
Jacob's Pickles is a new restaurant on the Upper West Side, and it very much has a Southern feel to it. They very much try to get Southern comfort and bring that kind of food into New York City. It's hard sometimes to be away from home, and I really like that I can go someplace that's so close by and get a taste of Texas.
Before you started school, you had to take a class. Before you had started official classes, you had to do something called Legal Methods.
Before you actually start your classes, there's a 3-week program called Legal Methods. Legal Methods is an intensive course that you take before classes start. It's really meant to teach you the vocabulary of what you'll start to hear in a law school classroom and get you comfortable with what's happening. It's really supposed to be a low-stress environment, and one of the other really huge benefits is that it's a unique course to Columbia Law, and it's really an opportunity to get to know your fellow students and to really make friendships that you'll carry on throughout law school.
What do you do for fun here? Do law students at Columbia have any fun?
We have an immense amount of fun, and here in New York City, there's never any.
Start again? I'm sorry.
Sure. Here in New York City, there's always a lot of things to do. We're never short of something fun. There's always museums and Broadway shows and places to go out to eat and new places to try. So we definitely have a good time while being here in New York City. It's one of the advantages of coming to Columbia Law is that you're not only at a top-tier law school, but you're also in a top-tier city. And it's really great to be in a place that considers itself to be the capital of the world. And so you really have an opportunity to experience New York City in the way that every person sort of sees as coming of age by coming through Columbia Law School.
That's cool. So tell me about some of the on-campus events that you love.
One of my favorite events is the marquee event of the year, Barristers Ball, which happens at the end of March, and it's basically law prom. And you get dressed up and you really get a chance to let loose and hang out with all of your friends and everyone in the law school and dance the night away in a really beautiful venue right off of the Hudson River just before finals start. So it's a really great way to celebrate all the progress that you've made throughout the year and just have one more night before you really get intense into your studying for finals.
So tell me again about your favorite restaurant in New York. What is it?
My favorite restaurant in New York is Jacob's Pickles. It's here on the Upper West Side, about 15 minutes from Columbia, and it's a fabulous place to get brunch. It's open 7 days a week, and you can go anytime and always make sure that you can get some biscuits and gravy or a good Bloody Mary. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that. And it's very much a Southern comfort food place, and it's absolutely delicious. It's ranked in one of the top 20 best brunch places in all of Manhattan, and it's right here in Columbia's own backyard.
So why would a Southern comfort food place be of interest to you?
I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and I really sometimes miss home, and it's really great to get a little bit of home here in the city.
Okay, so I'm sort of asking you the same question in
Right.
a different way. So I want you to tell me you're from Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and I want you to tell me the name is Jacob's Pickles,
Mm-hmm.
and speak slowly so I can understand
Sure.
it. Okay, so what's your favorite restaurant and why?
My favorite restaurant in Manhattan is Jacob's Pickles, probably because I'm from Dallas, Texas, and sometimes in the city it's nice to get a little bit of taste of home. And Jacob's Pickles does a fabulous job of doing big Southern, sorry.
Okay.
You can start from Jacob's.
Breathe, relax.
Pickles.
Jacob's Pickles does a really wonderful job of Southern comfort food. I really enjoy their biscuits and gravy as well as their chicken sandwiches, as well as all their other Southern comfort food. That was repetitive.
All right, we'll come back to it. All right, so Legal Methods, right? What is that?
Legal Methods is a 3-week intensive seminar that happens before classes start. It's unique to Columbia Law.
Okay, stop.
No.
Columbia Law School admissions, Winston speaking
I
at
like
Yale.
when she goes, when she said, oh, am I supposed to say that? I like that.
Yeah, no, that was cute. It is cute.
And I think you're so good at this that you're coming across like
As
you are a
professional.
student, but that you're a professional spokesperson. So I would not be thinking like, oh, I'm speaking to prospective students. I would just be matter of fact as if you're talking to Libby, you know. So don't be worried about like using the right, you know, drive for. Just
Say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, just talk to her like you're talking to a friend. I'm not criticizing it. It's great. It's just almost too good. You know what I mean? It's like I can't believe you're a student. So you know, that little outburst when you. Oh, am I supposed to say that? That's just
Yeah,
that was
I
your
said-
personality. I like seeing that. That's good.
Do you ever come over here for the cookies?
I do sometimes. They're
Do you?
really good. I have class downstairs.
Okay.
So I don't get legal methods. What is it?
So Legal Methods is a class that happens before law school happens, or before law school classes happen, rather.
Start again. Sorry.
Sure. Legal Methods is a class that happens before your actual classes start. And basically, it's an intensive that's made to teach you some of the vocabulary that you'll hear in your law school classrooms, as well as sort of introduce you to how to read through a textbook and read through a case and really understand what's happening before you really feel that you have to commit to sort of your classes. The other important thing about Legal Methods that's so unique, and it is a unique program here at Columbia, is that you get to know so many people through Legal Methods and you make those friendships for the rest of your law school career. Most schools, or several schools, basically have small sections, and people basically make their friends based on their small sections. But because we have this Legal Method program, you meet and make friends with people who are outside of your small sections, and you really get to know a larger breadth of the law school class, and it really gives it a sense of camaraderie and cohesiveness to the class.
Cool. So once you make these friends, what do you guys do?
Well, obviously there's a lot of hard work in law school, but we do get to play. New York City is a wonderful playground to have, and we have all kinds of variety. I have a member at the Met, and we love to go all the time to see the new exhibits that go through there. There's Broadway Week, which is 2-for-1 Broadway tickets, so I just saw Kinky Boots. It was very racy and interesting. And we get to see all kinds of new stuff come through Manhattan all the time. All of the new things that are happening here first. We have Fashion Week. We have everything that you want in the world comes through Manhattan. And so you really have the ability to try everything and to see anything that you want here.
That's exciting. Where do you like to eat?
I'm gonna sneak you. Sorry, this way a little bit more. Right there. Good.
Where do you like to eat when you're out playing?
My favorite place is actually here on the Upper West Side. It's a place called Jacob's Pickles. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, so I really enjoy getting a little bit of Southern comfort food here in the Upper West Side. They do a great biscuits and gravy and a Bloody Mary. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but at any rate, they do really great biscuits and mashed potatoes and everything that I miss from home sometimes, so you really can find everything here.
And what about on campus? What are your favorite non-scholastic events on campus?
Every year, our marquee event at Columbia Law School is the Barristers Ball. It's a really great opportunity just to get dressed up and let your hair down, or I guess put it up. And we rent out a big venue over in Chelsea Piers, which has a beautiful view of the Hudson, and you really get to just dance and be with your friends at Columbia Law School right before finals start. And so it's a really great opportunity to celebrate sort of how far you've come and to celebrate where you get to go from here.
The Barristers Ball sounds like a lot of fun. So I want to talk to you about it again. And when you say to me Barristers Ball, I don't want you to say Barristers Ball. Okay, your voice sort of goes up when
Okay.
you say that. So I want to hear Barristers Ball.
Barristers Ball.
Yeah, so tell me about your favorite on-campus event.
My favorite event is probably the Barristers Ball. It's basically law school prom, and it's a really fun opportunity just to let your hair down or put it up and dance the night away with all your friends. It happens at the end of March, so it's a great opportunity to celebrate sort of how far you come and just have one more great night out before you start studying for the last set of finals for the year.
That was good.
Yeah, that's a good one. So studying for finals, before you start your law school classes, somebody tries to help you figure out how to do that, I guess, right? Is that what Legal Methods is all about?
Yes, legal methods is a class that happens before Legal methods is an intensive that happens before your classes actually start. Sometimes law school can be challenging, and it's really nice to have a course that really teaches you how to do law school. And you really teach you the vocabulary, how to read through a case, and how to understand where you need to go and how you want to study for the rest of your classes. It's also a great opportunity to start to meet all of your friends that you'll have throughout your law school career, because it is a low-stress environment that is unique to Columbia Law School, so that you have an opportunity to not only learn a little bit about what you want to be doing and how you want to study, but also have an opportunity to make friends before you really feel the pressure of having to study all the time or read or anything like that.
I like that one.
I like that one. I like a lot of them, actually.
I think I have takes on everything. Do you? Ariel, read.
And Ariel, you want to look right into the camera and say your name.
Okay.
And the year.
Okay.
Year.
My name is Ariel Reed, and I am a 2L at Columbia Law School.
Great.
Thank you for joining us today. I won't be on camera, so I'm
Okay.
going to do whatever I want.
Okay.
Nobody can see me. All right. I want to hear about your summer internship. I don't know what you did. And when did you do it, and where were you, and what's that about?
Sure. So this past summer, I worked at the Mecklenburg County Public Defender's Office, which is located in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is conveniently my hometown. And so I was basically just a legal intern. I worked with 2 felony attorneys, one who handled habitual felon cases and another who handled more serious cases like rape, murder, etc. And I basically just did whatever they wanted me to do.
Way too happy to be thrown out with rape, murder.
Rape, murder.
Hey, you're guilty, and you're buried for 20 years.
This is what you...
I had a happy experience, so I'm trying to yeah. It was fun, but
I love
okay.
that it's in your hometown.
Yeah.
All right, let's try that again. All right, so your summer internship, which was very serious, what was it?
So I was a legal intern at the Mecklenburg County Public Defender's Office in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is conveniently my hometown. And I worked with 2 felony attorneys there. They had different cases that they managed, and I got to see a little bit of both. I actually got to see a ton of trials while I was there. I actually almost had the opportunity to be second chair on one, but I had to go out of town that weekend, and luckily our client was found not guilty, so I'm sad I missed it. But I did legal research, I interviewed clients, I was at the jail every day talking to inmates and clients and trying to help them figure out what was going on. I went to bail, I went to arraignments, I went to hearings with the prosecutor's office, so I got to experience pretty much everything that a defense attorney would get to experience during their practice, which is perfect for me because that's what I want to be when I leave. So I definitely got a great set of experiences while I was working there.
That sounds amazing.
Good energy.
So you're a 2L?
Yes, I'm a
Okay.
2L.
Tell me about your, do you remember being a 1L? Or is it like all a blur?
No, I definitely remember being a 1L, and probably the reason I remember it most is because of my experience on the Frederick Douglass Moot Court team. Columbia has a ton of different moot court teams. From LAWSA, we have a that's the Latino Law Students Association moot court team. We have Native American law students. We have the international moot court team where students can go to Europe to practice. So I was on the Frederick Douglass moot court team, and that one was provided by BALSA, the National Black Law Students Association, and it's a really great experience to get to grapple with current legal issues. The one thing about Frederick Douglass Moot Court team is that every single year they try to be as current as possible with what the problem is actually going to be asking students to analyze. So last year our problem dealt with DOMA, the Defense of Marriage Act, and Proposition 8, and so we actually got to grapple with those legal issues before the Supreme Court did and try to analyze them and argue for and against them on each side. And so that was a really great experience, especially when the decisions came out and we were all like, well, we already talked about this. We did this before. So that was really fun. And the people, are 16 people on the team, and we all had such great connections, and we travel together, we eat together, we go to boot camp together, we do everything together, and so it really helped in building a community of people that maybe we might not otherwise have been formed without the help of Frederick Douglass Moot Court team. So that was by far my best experience 1L year.
I'm going to ask you about that again in a little bit, and you can tell me Frederick Douglass Moot Court Team the first time,
Okay.
and then if you want to go ahead and do your Fed Doug or
Yeah.
whatever you say, that's perfectly fine. A lot of students are interested in clinic experiences. Have you had any, and what does it do for you? What do you like about it?
This past semester, I was a participant in the challenging the consequences of math.
Start again.
Yeah.
This past semester.
Okay.
And I think you can just call it the mass
Mass
incarceration.
incarceration. Okay. Yeah, I never used the long form thing. So this.
Because they'll look it up if
Yeah.
you want to know more about it.
So this past semester, I was a student in the mass incarceration clinic that is taught by two wonderfully competent and experienced professors. One's Brett Dignam and the other is Laura Mukherjee. And we basically worked on all different types of prisoners' rights cases, from excessive force to denial of medical care to actually working on getting a person who had been in prison for 18 years exonerated, which actually happened over winter break, and we were all celebrating about that. And so from a wide range of different topics and experiences, we learned a lot about professional ethics, and we did a lot of client interviews and getting to interact with clients and interact with other lawyers, and just that whole entire experience really drives home a lot of the things that you don't really get in classrooms, which is being able to learning how to be a lawyer in practice as opposed to theories and doctrines. So we got to get out in the real world every day and just practice and learn what lawyers should do and what they shouldn't do and interact with people. And so I think it was a really good experience and a really helpful experience from that standpoint, and also just the amount of care that our professors showed in making sure we developed as lawyers and becoming not only better lawyers but just better people generally, and being able to be the most effective for our clients. I really appreciated that aspect as well.
If you had to narrow it down and tell me what are the three biggest benefits to a clinical experience, in the context of your clinical experience, what would those three benefits be?
I think the first benefit of being in a clinic would just be working on a team and having, because when you're realistically, when you're out in practice, you're going to be working with other lawyers, whether they're on your side or on the other side, or you're trying to cooperate, engage, and make the clients sorry, I lost my train of thought. Yeah. So I think the first benefit of being in a clinic is just getting that teamwork experience, because in actuality, when you're out in the real world in practice, you're going to be working with lawyers either on your side, or on the other side, or maybe somewhere in between. And it's good to learn how to interact with other people and work towards a common goal, because a lot of times in law school, you're focused on your classes and your grades and studying, and you don't really have a lot of opportunity to kind of interact with groups of people on a particular issue that you all are focused on resolving. And so I think that's definitely a benefit of being in a clinic. I think the second one would be getting to interact with clients. Some lawyers have actual people as clients, others necessarily might not have people as clients, but I think getting to talk to people and interact and learning to interview, for instance, or learning to communicate and learning to be sympathetic or empathetic to whatever your client's legal issues are, and just learning how to navigate the whole communication aspect of being a lawyer, because that's a huge part of it, and just learning to be able to maneuver in that space, I think, is really important as well. And then the third one would probably be just the experience of being a lawyer. You get to have real cases that you work on and are responsible for. You get to, like I said previously, you get to interact with clients, you get to write briefs, you get to write memos. We had students this past semester who wrote or drafted things that actually went to the court. So you get to have that kind of experience, and which you wouldn't otherwise have just in a normal classroom setting.
When you draft things that go to the court, is it completely student writing?
No, it's not. So students draft, and then of course the professors will look at them and edit and make suggestions and things like that. But just having the opportunity to give your input and kind of contribute to the finalized project, I think is really important for students, and just bettering your writing first of all, and then also in having something you can say, I contributed to this filing, I contributed to this motion, I contributed to the ending of this case.
So tell me a little bit about SJI. What is that? What's your experience with it?
Okay, so SJI is an acronym for Social Justice Initiatives, and it's an office here at Columbia that really tries to focus on and promote public interest work and even pro bono practice if you're going to a firm. So my experience with SJI has been extremely positive. I love everyone at that office. They were super helpful in helping me get my internship this past summer. I went to them to help me with my resume and my cover letter, and they also gave me a list of places to apply to. So they've been super helpful in that aspect, but also in just building a community at Columbia of public interest-minded students. I feel like without SJI, like, we would all be wandering around and not knowing who's interested and not knowing each other's interests and not knowing what to do, but SJI really brings everyone together and helps us kind of navigate the sometimes daunting task of being a public interest lawyer and trying to find employment and trying to network and all that. So they've done a really good job of helping us with our interests.
So they try and understand what you're interested in doing, and then they help you get an internship. So what are you interested in doing, and what was your internship?
I'm interested in public defense. Should I keep talking over that? Yeah.
It's good though. Very good.
Okay, so what do you want to do, and what was your internship?
So Social Justice Initiatives helped me find my internship at the Mecklenburg County Public Defender's Office. I'm interested in being a public defender when I graduate, and when I went to go talk to them, they gave me a list of public interest or public defender-minded organizations throughout the country, and so that really helped me kind of get a feel of where the offices were and what I wanted to apply for. And I ended up going to the Mecklenburg County Public Defender's Office, which sorry, I'm speaking too fast.
Slow.
Yeah.
Take some deep breaths.
You know what you can do is to keep in mind. I mean, I like the energy you have. It's great because it makes you want to listen to what you're saying. I think what you can do is at the end of each sentence do a little pause. Not so it's precious, but just so just so you can catch up with yourself.
Yeah.
You're very quick-witted with what to say, but it comes across a little bit rushed.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, what was the question? I think it was about my internship,
All right,
right?
this is the last time I'm going to ask you this question. I want to know about your internship.
Okay.
In relationship to what it is you want to do. What do you want to do?
I want to be a public defender when I graduate. That's what I came to law school to do, and I haven't changed my mind. So that's what I intend to do when I leave here. So my internship last year, I actually worked at a public defender's office. It was the Mecklenburg County Public Defender's Office, and it's located in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is conveniently where I'm from. So I got to go home for a summer, which was nice. And pretty much I was a legal intern at the office. I worked with 2 different attorneys, and they both had a wide range of cases that they handled. And so I would help them with whatever they needed on their cases. So I'd do anything from going to the jail to interview clients, or going to bail hearings, or sitting in on a trial and helping select a jury, to just writing, doing some research on legal issues. And so I really got a broad range of experiences, and I got to experience pretty much everything that a public defender would be doing in the real world, which is great because now I kind of have an idea of what it is that I will be doing for the rest of my life, which I found to be really valuable.
That was excellent. Excellent. Okay, so what was your most favorite experience as a 1L?
My most favorite experience as a 1L would have been being a member of the Frederick Douglass Moot Court team. It's sponsored by the National Black Law Students Association, and it's one of many moot court teams that Columbia offers. I was on the Fred Doug team along with 17 other students, and we just had a blast. Like, being with people who you might not necessarily have been friends with or known before, and just getting to interact and do everything together, because literally we did everything together. We went to competition together, we ate, we did boot camp, we did research, everything. And another really cool thing about Fred Doug is the problems are always really current. And so last year our problem dealt with DOMA, and we had to argue for or against DOMA as a Supreme Court litigator would. And so it was really nice to be able to grapple with current legal issues. And at the end of it, when DOMA came down from the Supreme Court, we were like, oh, we already did that. So it was really nice to be like at the forefront of cutting edge legal theories.
That was great.
That was another excellent response.
Yeah.
All right, this is going to be my last question. I want to hear about your clinical experience.
I was a participant in the mass incarceration clinic this past semester, so fall of 2013. Columbia offers a wide breadth of different types of clinics, but I chose mass incarceration because I'm interested in being a public defender. And while the work isn't necessarily the same, we did a lot of prisoners' rights issues, which I feel like are really relevant today, especially with the mass incarceration problem that the country is facing. So we did everything from defending people who are in prison and claiming their innocence. We actually had someone who was exonerated after 18 years in prison over Christmas break, so that was a really great Christmas present. We also worked on excessive force cases, and we worked on cases where prisoners were being denied medical treatment in the facilities, and so it was a really broad range of things that we got to work on, and just the experience of interacting with clients and working on actual cases and having things that you're responsible for and having people call you and expect you to help them. It really made us feel like lawyers, which is great because in law school you don't really have a lot of opportunities to feel like a lawyer. And it also made us really value the experience of being a lawyer and what it means to people and how much people depend on you every day. And so it really made the practice seem more valuable.
Good, very good.
I think we have good ones now for all of them.
Hold on. Okay.
Junie? We won't call you Junie.
It's okay.
The first thing I want you to do is look right in the camera and tell us your name and what year you are at Columbia Law School.
Hi, my name is June Hu. Oh, shouldn't I have said?
No, you can say this is just for us.
My name is June Hu, and I'm a 2L at Columbia Law School.
Lib, before you start,
Yeah?
I hear the creaking of the chair when you move.
Okay.
Or the paper, I'm not sure what I'm hearing.
All right, I won't move and I won't move anything.
Okay.
So this will be fun for you, but not for me.
I'm sorry.
Okay. You are the leader of a student organization?
I'm the president of the Columbia Law Women's Association here, and I think this is possibly the best organization that I've been part of. I have a supportive board. I have enthusiastic 1L membership. This year, our 1L membership is I think 98 students. So that's a lot. It's great for us because it really invigorated our mentorship program. We have a peer mentorship program, and on the other hand, we have an alum mentorship program. And I want to talk about the peer mentorship program first. That's a fabulous program that we had for years, and it pairs a 1L student with a 2L student, and so you get really, great interaction between the two women. And I just remember when I was a 1L, I was confused all the time. And my mentor was great. My mentor kept me on track. She told me, "Oh, it's about time to apply for your summer jobs or what?" Oh, really? Already? I'm outlining, And so it was wonderful to have someone like that. And this year, as president and as a member of the board that's running this program, we've been really lucky to have a great collection of 2L mentors. They're a collection of different experiences, different interests, public sector and private sector both, and they were the same kind of excited, enthusiastic mentors that my mentor was able to be to me, and I think the 1Ls really like it, and the 2Ls really like being part of it, and I think it's worked out fine.
Okay, hold on, I gotta fix the audio. Okay.
Alrighty, so you are a leader in a student organization here at Columbia Law School.
I'm the president of the Columbia Law Women's Association here, and it's been a fantastic experience. We have, I think, some of the most enthusiastic members and some of the most enthusiastic leaders of this organization. I might be biased, but I really think that we have some of the best organizational members at Columbia and anywhere else really. I've talked to some other women's associations at other law schools, and I think we really do have the best. We have a 98 member 1L membership this year, and they're very active. Every time we have an event, we have a reading group, you see 1Ls all over the place. And I don't know if my year was like that. Maybe it's that we got very lucky with last year's crop of 1Ls, but I think that's wonderful when we opened up applications, because in my organization, 1Ls can participate and join part of the leadership as a 1L chair. When we opened up the applications for 1L members, we received something like 30 applications this year, which is also a lot. Everyone wants to take leadership of this organization, and I think that's really exciting. And we actually had to make extra spots in order to accommodate who we thought would be good leaders, but it's worked out fine, and I think we enjoyed the input that the 1Ls are giving us on the board.
What do you think is the biggest benefit to an organization like CLAWA?
I think the work that CLAWA does on campus I think the work that the Columbia Law Women's Association does on campus is great. Part of what we do is reacting to some of the issues we see at Columbia. I think Columbia has come a long way, and Columbia is a very welcoming place for women, but there are times when something arises and maybe an older professor says something in class. But I think with organizations like the Columbia Law Women's Association and the Empowering Women of Color organization, both women's group on campus, we really are very responsive when something arises. And actually we found that the professors are also very responsive to us when we bring up an issue. For example, a professor said something in class in a criminal case that was that might not have been the most sensitive or the most politically correct thing to say. We've responded, and the professors are agreeing to talk about this issue. And actually last year, one of the current leaders of the Empowering Women of Color organization brought up something to a professor after class, and in the next class he issued an apology, and really I think the classes became more sensitive and more comfortable for everyone after the discussion. And I think that's part of what our organization does. I think that's that kind of fine-tuning the institution to keep up with the times is very important. And also I think another part of what the great work that student organizations like the Columbia Law Women's Association we do is that we're able to get the students really excited in a different aspect of being a legal practitioner, and that's the social and networking aspect. In law school, I think you learn, oh, this is torts, this is contracts, and these are the legal doctrine. And actually, even having just done a summer internship, you realize how important it is to be a person outside of just being someone who knows, the statutes and the legal concepts. And I think through programming like our mentorship program, where we pair alumni women with current students, or through our faculty lunch reading groups, we're able to really show the students that law is something that's being practiced by a living group of people who have personalities, who have inclinations, and really give our membership an opportunity to really interact with the legal community.
So you mentioned a mentorship program. So basically there's one that's student to student, and then there's a new one that you're instituting with SJI. So tell me about the mentorship aspect, student to student first.
Yeah, the Columbia Law Women's Association and other organizations on campus, a lot of other organizations on campus do this too. We have, as part of our the Columbia Law Women's Association and a lot of other organizations, similar organizations do this program, which I think is great, that pairs 1L members with 2L and 3L members. Mostly you're gonna get 2L members just because they've just done everything you've done, but I think that's a great experience for 1L members. I remember my experience coming into 1L. I'm a first generation law student, and I really didn't know what law school was going to be like, much less the Socratic method or outlines. I didn't know what an outline was. I thought someone was gonna draw a chart for me or something, but I think that it was really comforting to have a student mentor, someone that you could vent to, someone you could bounce ideas off of, someone you could ask all the questions that you thought might be too stupid to ask to your TA or your professor. Definitely, I would not have raised my hand and said, "Oh, like, what are these court reporter names mean?" I would first check it with a mentor. But also at the same time, because these are students who've just gone through all your anxieties, they can look out for you in a way that maybe professors who've gone through this experience like years and years ago couldn't. I remember I was worrying about finals, my first set of finals, and that was also the time when judicial internship applications were about to be due. And the only reason that I made the deadline was because my 1L mentor told me, "Oh, this is the time you're supposed to start writing your resume." And she actually took a lot of ownership of my job application experience. She edited my resume. She edited my cover letter too. I think that was maybe above and beyond the normal mentor. But I really appreciated that I had someone there telling me how things could be done and giving me a way to figure out things that was not having to reinvent the wheel.
So tell me about your work with CLAWA and SJI and this new mentoring initiative.
I think one of the reason that Columbia might have a reputation of being not as public interest friendly is just because Columbia is so prestigious and we're bombarded with a lot of, and this is very helpful too, a lot of private sector law firms who are coming to recruit on campus. And it's a great opportunity for students to have those resources, but at the same time, as someone who, like me, might not have coming to law school knowing what they want to do, it just seems like, oh wow, the private sector life, it's great, without hearing the other side of the story. And I think a group of the student organizations on campus, especially the identity organizations like the Black Students Law Association, the Latina Student Law Student Association, the South Asian group as well, and the Law Women's Association, we are all trying to get together, and we've successfully communicated to SJI this frustration that we have, that a lot of our members, which constitute a lot of first-generation lawyers, are really hoping to get more of a dialogue with legal practitioners who are working in public sector. And I think part of the great thing about Columbia is that the administrators are very responsive to the concerns that we bring up. And as of this semester, we were able to be on a listserv that allows the public sector alumni from Columbia to opt in to a mentorship program for our organizations. So how it would work would be someone who's currently working in the public sector would get an email from the Social Justice Initiative that says, would you be willing to become a mentor to someone in one of these organizations? And then what happens is we generate a contact sheet of all the people who are willing to be mentors, and we pair current students up with someone in the public sector. So that way you have the benefit of someone who's already gone that route telling you, what's possible, what's great, what are difficulties, so that you can make a really even-handed decision when you hear the private sector recruiters come on campus.
Why do you think it's important for these student identity student organizations to have alumni mentors?
I think that there are a lot of benefits with having people who are alumni mentors come and support an organization, especially an identity organization. And I think one of the most obvious reasons is for the networking, that these people know about you. So when you're thinking about maybe choosing that path, someone out there already knows about you. But I think also putting the power in the students' hands, Columbia students have a lot of options. And for the identity group students to be able to know somebody who's done this really helps them make an informed choice about what path that they want to choose in the future. So knowing a little more about, for example, nonprofit work, you realize that there are a lot of benefits. Maybe even though you might not be paid as much as in the private sector, you realize that you get to do a lot. You get to interact with a lot of diverse clients, and you really realize the needs of maybe a community that really would benefit from a Columbia graduate going in and helping out. I think it becomes very important to have that human aspect, that human storytelling aspect to a career path that comes with a mentor.
Did you get a judicial internship?
Yeah, I worked in a judicial internship last summer. It was a great experience. I think there's no experience that compares to it. I think if you want to become a litigator, if you're even considering being a litigator, I think a judicial internship would be a great start to that path. I worked with Judge Laura Taylor Swain in the Southern District, who was so patient, so thorough, so great. And I think a lot of other students who did judicial internships had similar amazing experiences. Columbia is now paying a $4,500 stipend towards supporting people who want to do that, because judicial internships are unpaid, unfortunately, but you just gain so much from that experience. I think the most powerful moment of that experience was when I was talking to my father about some of the work that I had, not the specific details, but I brought home a file. My judge let me brought home a file to work over the long weekend during 4th of July. And my dad was just looking at the size of it, and I was going over the basics, that it was a pro se, a self-represented plaintiff who didn't actually know how to write. He was drawing the words as if he'd never written letters, and he was going against the government, which was the other envelope that was much bigger and had nice, binding and nice paper. And my father cried. Actually, my father cried. He said, in my country, we don't really feel like we have the power to go up against the government, especially when we don't know the law that well. And for people to really believe in the system is just so inspiring. And that really put the kind of work that we're doing here in perspective.
Now you're going to make me cry.
Hold on a second. There was some wild laughter out there.
Oh no, did it just ruin that story?
No, it's not that bad. But
That must be very powerful.
I told the judge actually cried too.
Yeah.
I think it touched home more for her because she's doing that all the time.
Sure.
But yeah. Like, the judge also cried during a sentencing that we had.
So,
Great.
I feel bad we're taking over the office, but how are we doing for questions?
We're good. We're just sort of talking around.
Okay.
How are we doing on time?
I don't know.
What time is it?
Okay, go ahead.
And then we'll be done. Did you get a judicial internship?
My first summer at law school, I was a judicial intern, and I think it was one of the most inspiring experiences I've had in law school, and it's one of the reasons I feel like law school is more than just learning the law, and that you're actually doing something important. Columbia law students actually do really well in terms of placement in judges' chambers. And I was fortunate enough to work in the Southern District of New York with a federal judge who I thought was a great role model. She taught me a lot about being a conscientious person, in addition to just being someone who was very good at the law, which she obviously was. And I think the most memorable story from my summer happened over Independence Day, of all times, right? And what happened was that I had work over the long weekend, but I was going to DC where my home is, and I brought some of the work with me with the judge's permission. And on one side I had a small stack of papers which were from a plaintiff who was representing himself. And this plaintiff didn't speak English. He didn't actually write English letters. And you could tell because the way he was forming the letters on paper looked like he was writing them for the first time ever. And on the other side, you had the government's responses, which were nicely bound and just typed out, and mountains and mountains of papers. And I think the most poignant question my father asked me was that, did this person who didn't know how to write and obviously maybe didn't go to law school, did this person really think that they were going to win against the government? Do people ever win against the government? And I said yes, and my father cried. it was just so inspiring for him that people had such faith in the system, and the faith was rewarded sometimes. And I told the story to my judge, and we both had tears in our eyes when we were retelling the story. And I think that made me think that we were here to do something great.
That was great. Okay?
Yeah, baby.
All righty.
Okay.
Thank you, June.
No problem.
Now that we all have goosebumps and level out.
I want to move that.
That's been my job. Okay. Can you just look right here first and tell us your name and what year you are at Columbia Law School?
My name is Lizzie Gomez. I'm a third-year law school student.
Okay, and Lizzie, we're going to keep that bangs just back.
Sorry.
No.
There.
And give a little bit of help with your hand there on the.
I love that hair.
This way?
Whatever's going on, that's good.
Don't make her.
Are you fine?
She looks good.
No, I thought he was saying.
Oh, I just.
What does he
What do
know?
I know?
I don't know. We've been chasing light all day.
Okay, exactly. Hold on, I'm going to pop a little more powder in the
What clinic were you in?
Exploring in the Digital Age with
Oh, Conrad
yeah, and Mary Zula
and Mary.
and Brian.
So what exactly do you focus on in that clinic?
Anything that deals with the intersection of technology and law, how we can incorporate that into our practice. I specifically worked in the housing court and try to innovate one of their new sort of like projects that help elderly people with their housing claims.
Oh.
So, I mean, there are a lot of like inefficiencies that go on in that court, and so it's just like, how can we incorporate technology to make things move along faster?
Was the housing court the one that where some students made a video and there were, thousands of people lined up just trying
Oh
to
yeah, no, that was a few years ago. They showed us that video. That was super neat. No, yeah.
So housing court and the elderly and technology, it kind of doesn't work for me. So explain to me what you mean by
Yeah, I didn't know. I mean, it's a new project. So basically, like the housing court has this project for elderly people who are brought into court by their landlords trying to evict them for whatever reason. And these elderly people don't have the help of counsel, usually because they're low-income people. And these pro se attorneys at the court basically take their case on and help them through the process when they don't have counsel, and they also give them social services. And so this project is growing and growing, and they have more and more people, but there's no sort of like efficient process in place that sort of keeps track how many cases are being taken in, what types of claims are more prevalent, how long these cases are lasting. So they need some sort of like database that helps them keep track of all these factors. And so that's kind of where technology plays a role, hopefully, in trying to make the process itself smoother, because, like, as you know, the court has very few resources as it is.
Right.
So it's just about like making use of those resources as best as possible with technology. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about Around the World, your favorite on-campus event.
Okay.
What is it?
So my favorite on-campus event is Around the World. It's basically a potluck of food from around the world, and you have JDs as well as LLM students that participate. So that's one of the biggest reasons why it's my favorite activity, is because you don't really see the LLMs sometimes, and so it's a way for us, the JDs, to interact with the LLMs, share our culture, share food, share games, share songs. So it's not just a potluck of food. You have Jerome Green basically taken over with like a bunch of people bringing in different types of food and people playing songs, and it's just really fun.
When does Around the World happen?
November, I want to say, sometime in November. So it's sort of like a time when people are thinking about maybe exams, things are sort of coming down to the wire, so it's a way to, I guess, let loose a little bit and have some fun.
Why don't you see LLM students?
I don't know. That's a good question. I think sometimes people are in their own little groups maybe, and you don't get to see them that often, I guess. It depends where you are. Sometimes I don't spend a lot of my time at the law school itself, and I'll study at home or I'll study with friends, and I don't get to see them that often. I guess sometimes you have classes with them, but even in classes you can stay with your own little group. So it's, yeah. And so I actually participated in Around the World. I made food from Peru, which is where I'm from, and I worked with LLM students from Peru, so that was like super fun because I didn't know them before the event, and we sort of got really close during the event. It was really fun.
So what did you bring in? What's a typical Peruvian dish?
I made papa la huancaína, which is just like potatoes with cheese sauce, and it sounds very simple, but it's actually super good. And we made chicha morada, which is purple corn, a purple corn drink. And we had purple corn candies, and then we had ceviche, which I think a lot of people know. It's like raw fish. So it was really good.
That sounds delicious.
Yeah, and then people just brought the craziest things. People brought like Italy had amazing food. They had like this awesome cake, and there was sushi, there was like Colombian food, so it was really fun.
All right, I'm going to ask you about that again in a few minutes. So tell me about any of your summer experiences.
So in my first year.
Let's start over. So
sorry.
Don't start with so.
Oh,
Okay,
sorry.
people won't hear me on the tape, they're only going to hear you. So tell me about your summer experience.
Okay. After my first year, my first summer experience was actually working at Microsoft Corporation in Redmond, Washington. I worked as a legal intern in their legal department with 8 other legal interns from different schools across the country. I loved it. I got it through the on-campus interview process that Columbia offers, and it was a great opportunity to meet more people from different schools, to sort of see what it was like to work in a big corporation and to work with business people and not only legal people. So it's a great experience.
It sounds like a great experience.
I thought it was great, actually. And it's different.
Yeah.
You got a little
That was your 1L, right?
Yeah, it was my 1L summer.
Hold on, we're just going to hit one more shot of power just below the nose, sorry.
Okay.
It's very sharp. It's not like you're, any greasier than any of us, but the light
this
and
light
the
is-
camera is.
It's hard when you can't see people.
Yeah.
I have really bad vision, so it's
so
like
do I.
looking into the
Come
dark.
in, excuse me.
That's it.
I remember when I first got glasses, my first pair of
Just on the
glasses.
chin.
Sorry.
And I could actually see for the first time, and I didn't realize
Good.
that, like, when you're
Okay.
watching television, you can see people's facial features. And then I suddenly realized that all this time, everybody could see my facial features also. It was very strange. Now when I take my glasses off, I still can't see, but I'll always remember that first moment. I was like, wow, really, that's what people look like.
Columbia Law School admissions
Is your
office.
vision?
This is
I
Peter.
feel
How
so
may I help
bad.
you?
He has to keep that down.
May I ask who's calling?
As soon as he's off, we'll jump into it.
Okay.
You're a 2 p.m. cookie
Okay,
girl?
he is actually out
Oh
of
yeah,
office today.
since 1L year.
But
Sure.
if you'd like, I could take a message.
How do people find out about the 2 p.m. cookies?
Word of mouth, really.
Okay, great.
It's not like
Take
it's not like I posted
Yeah, I've never
anywhere.
seen it posted. I
No,
don't think.
I think, but once you know, just like always go back.
Anytime.
All right, tell me about your 2L summer.
After, can I start over? My 2L summer, I worked at Cleary Gottlieb, a law firm in downtown New York. I worked as a summer associate there. I had a great experience there. I worked on corporate law matters, which is what I'm interested in. And not only did I work in their New York City office, but I also had the opportunity to go to their Buenos Aires office in Argentina. So I spent the first half of my summer in New York, and then I spent the second half of my summer in Buenos Aires. And I pretty much went just to go to a different part of the world. And I came out of it really thinking about working abroad. So I think it was a great experience because I didn't know that that would happen. Met a lot of great people and really was happy that I liked the work, that it wasn't overwhelming, that I really enjoyed the challenge. So it's great.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about that again because I want you to also share with us, if you're comfortable, that it's turned into an employment offer, right?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what did you do during your 2L summer?
So my 2L summer, I worked at Cleary Gottlieb, which is a law firm in New York City. I worked as a summer associate in their New York City office. But I also had the opportunity to work in their Buenos Aires office in Argentina. So it was an amazing experience. I decided to go to Buenos Aires just because I wanted to see another part of the world, and really came out of it knowing that it's something that I would be interested in going forward. And then overall it was a great experience because I enjoyed working with my coworkers, and at the end of it I received a full-time offer. So I'm really excited to be going back there after graduation.
And tell me again what your one of your favorite on-campus activities is?
So my favorite on-campus activity is called Around the World. It takes place around November, I want to say, but basically it's a big potluck that involves JD students and also LLM students, and we have food from around the world. There's music, there's games, and it's a really fun event because JDs and LLMs come together and share their culture. We get really great food, and it really turns into a really big party at the end, so it's really fun.
Tell me about, you had an interesting clinical experience that a lot of people probably don't even know exists. So tell me about that. What did you do?
So the clinic experience that I had at Columbia is a clinic called Luring in the Digital Age. And the clinic is basically about finding ways that we can incorporate technology into our law practice. It was a fabulous experience because I'm personally interested in all things that involve technology. Even though I don't want to pursue a focused career in, say, IP law, I still found the area of law very interesting. And it's for all types of students. People who are interested in going down the IP route, people who are just like me and are just interested in technology in general. You work on different projects with the clinic professors one-on-one, so it feels like a very small environment, a very tight-knit group of people. You work a lot of hours, so it does take quite a bit of work and responsibility, but at the end of it, you really feel the impact that you do in the community.
And what did I want to ask you about?
2 p.m. cookies.
That's right.
You missed that one.
Tell me about 2 p.m. cookies. What is it? How do you know about it? What's
2
great about it?
2 p.m. cookies at Columbia Law School is a great opportunity to get free cookies, but it's also time to just sit back and catch up with friends, meet up with people you haven't seen in maybe quite a while. I sometimes shoot my friends an email and say, hey, want to get 2 p.m. cookies or want to get cookies? And people are busy here. People have different schedules, so it's hard to maybe find a time when people can get together. But I think the cookies is a good way to get people to come to one place and just relax. You can also study. I mean, sometimes you need a good amount of noise, background noise, I guess. So there's good amount of background noise here that you can do your work, I guess.
Where are you from?
I was born in Peru, but then I moved here when I was 2.
So on your Around the World event.
I'm just going to put a little more powder, sorry.
Sure. I keep trying to wrap it up and you keep putting powder on her.
I'm a powder guy.
You want to know the chili?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you about Around the World again, and
Mhm.
when you tell me about, everybody comes together and brings great food. You can talk
Should I leave
about
out the party?
No.
Or-
why?
I don't know.
You're allowed to have a party.
Okay.
It's fine. But I like the one you told me once that you're from Peru and you got to hang out with other
yeah.
from Peru and you made
Okay.
this beautiful sounding meal that was potato and cheese, which God, who doesn't love that?
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Around the World, what is it? What was your part in it? What did you like the best about it?
My favorite on-campus event is called Around the World, and it's basically a potluck where JDs and LLMs make food from their own culture. I'm actually from Peru, and at Around the World, I had the opportunity to make Peruvian food with other LLM students from Peru. We made papa la huancaína, which is basically potatoes and cheese. We made chicha morada, which is a purple corn drink. We had ceviche, which is raw fish, and with other things. And it was a great time to meet other LLM students. And unfortunately, I don't have a lot of opportunities where I interact with them, so that was a great part of the event. And it's just a time to share your culture, share food, share songs. People, just tasted different parts of each other's culture, and it was really fun. It turned into a great big party. I got close with the LLM students that I made the food with, and so that was great. We're still friends now. One of them's in my class. So you make really good friends through that event, and you meet other people, so it's fun.
Good. Okay.
Okay.
Very good.
You are done. Thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to wait for Around the World to happen.